So if you want to understand something, if you want to truly know what a thing is, you need to ask four kinds of questions. What is the thing made of? The material cause. What is the identity or the nature of the thing? What is its essence, the formal cause? What brought the thing into being or what brought the thing into existence, the efficient cause? And what is the end towards which this thing is directed? Like what is its purpose or function, if any? The final cause. Now, many of you might be familiar with those four causes. This is the classical Aristotle's or the Aristotelian four causes. And they are fairly exhaustive or comprehensive. And I guess a question for us would be, can we apply these four causes to the human being and see if we could better understand our nature by thinking of us in this context? So let's begin. And oh, by the way, this is going to be a very brief overview, intended to be like a series of discussions, and there is so much that could be said about these causes, especially the formal and the final causes. And I'm going to try to explicate or go into details in future videos, but this is meant to be an overview or just a broad perspective using this framework. So let's begin. The material cause. This is essentially asking the question, what is it made of? And it is just the stuff that comprises a substance. So for a human being, for instance, we are comprised of atoms, or we are comprised atoms, cells, DNA, and we have organ systems, such as the nervous system, that interacts in complex ways to produce behavior. For a psychiatrist or for a psychologist, the nervous system is of interest because we think that it is one of the central systems that underlies human behavior, and it is its complex interactions that we think produces the plethora of human experience and behavior. And we are very good with this. So this is what neuroscience really does. And I'm very passionate about neuroscience. Neuroscience looks at cells, neurons, and how they form various kinds of networks. And if they go wrong, you could have mental disorders. So we don't really have a lot of problems in understanding human beings from a material perspective. But I don't think it's enough. I think in order to truly understand what we are, we need to go even deeper. And so let's look at the next cause, the efficient cause. Now, it asks the question, what brought the thing into being or existence? So what were the factors that allowed the thing to exist, essentially? Now, for a human being, there are multiple levels and there are various factors. For instance, we have two parents that come together and provide the DNA that becomes us. In addition to that, after we come into being, there are various developmental processes, various environmental factors that actually shape us. And if you want to go very, very deep, very in depth, there are people who try to explain the ultimate cause of a human being from an evolutionary perspective. So there are evolutionary factors as well. I know it could be controversial. So there are all these levels of interaction, right? From procreation to just the very nature of our genetic constitution, developmental processes, environmental factors, evolutionary forces, all in a sense conspire to create a human being. But once again, and also very interestingly, this is the efficient cause is also what we think of in classical neuroscience experiment. So when we think of stimuli causing a behavioral response, that's how efficient causes work. It's temporal and sort of sequenced in time. Again, a lot of biological psychiatrists are very familiar with this framework. This is what we're used to in neuroscience. And even though I'm very sympathetic to a neuroscientific perspective, I think we need to still go deeper in order to understand the human being. This is the formal cause, and this is a neglected cause. I think personally that it is perhaps the most important kind of cause. And I think that if you understand form, this would unlock a lot of mysteries and a lot of things that people find mystifying about the human mind. But what is it? What is the formal cause? Well, I'm going to have a series of videos in which we actually go into this cause because of just how important I think it is. So the form really answers the question, what is the essence of the thing? What is its identity? What is its nature? One way to think about this is you could imagine a table, right? You could imagine a table, and then you could imagine the table being chopped into pieces. And then what is left after you chop the table into pieces of wood. Well, the table has lost its form, so it gives you a hint as what a form is. Now, you may say that form, or you may ask, is form the same thing as shape? It isn't. It's somewhat close, but it isn't quite. And in order to appreciate that difference between form and shape, you could think about form in the context of living things. So, like I said, those four questions apply to every existing thing. It applies to rocks, living things like plants, animals, and human beings. And when you ask yourself, well, what is the form of a living thing? You actually get into a very interesting concept. And this is actually a Greek concept, the concept of a soul. Now we must be careful about what I mean and what I don't mean, because I know that the word soul carries a tremendous amount of baggage, and it is easy to get it confused. But by soul, I don't mean a ghost. I don't mean some transparent version of you that floats through walls or that it's behind your eyes. I mean something else. Essentially, mean what Aristotle meant originally. What did they mean? And this is what I am trying to think through here. So by soul, Aristotle just simply meant the form of the body, of not just any body, but the form of the living body. And he almost used the word soul to capture the fundamental function unique to the being or to the living being in question. And I keep saying this, well, we're going to get into this eventually. One way to distinguish between form and shape is you could imagine a living being, a living person, and a dead person. And in the Aristotelian context, that difference, although the bodies remain the same, the shape is retained. It's roughly the same, like I said, the same material constitution, the same shape, but there is a difference in terms of life and death. And that difference between a living body and a dead body in the Aristotelian context is said to be the form, or for a living thing, the soul. So you can see here that the idea of form is deeper than just shape. It's something that has to do with identity or essence. And it's okay if you can't quite imagine this, or if you don't have a picture in your mind. You're not meant to. And in principle, you cannot actually hold an image of what a form truly is, because it's something you grasp with your intellect, and we're going to get to that in future discussions. So form has to do with essence and identity. And I actually wanted to just point out something very interesting. I wanted to examine two words, psychology and psychiatry. So psychology has two roots, psyche meaning soul and logos meaning study. So psychology means study of the soul. Psychiatry means, similarly, psyche, soul, and aitria, I don't know if I pronounced it correctly, which means healing of the soul. But it's so interesting that these fields derive their names, or rather the fields imply that the object of study is this thing called the soul. And these words are Greek words. So when the word soul appeared in the names of these fields, it is meant to be understood in the original Greek context. The human form, or the human soul, is said in the Greek sense to be rational. It's a rational soul with its unique feature being its ability to grasp universal principles and engage in reasoning, and also to pursue goals, which is what the will is. I know that's a lot on form, but that's just a brief sketch. The final kind of cause is the final cause. It's very important, and I think it's central to mental health. Essentially, this final cause says that everything has an end towards which it tends, and you could almost see this in the fact that things tend to have this regularity about them. They tend to have a kind of preferred sort of behavior, and this applies to every single thing. The final cause doesn't just mean purpose. When you come to conscious beings or rational beings, that final cause could take the shape, or could take the form, so to speak, of purpose and meaning. And for a human being, the final cause is in fact the pursuit of, or rather the attainment of truth and the pursuit of goodness in its most profound sense. So that was just a brief sketch. I understand there are still quite a few outstanding questions, but we will try to address this in future videos. But thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video.